The girl no one would touch the space station market was alive with noise shouts from traders. The smell of fried street food, the hum of small cargo ships docking. Lights flashed above, advertising goods from 100 worlds. People moved fast, focused on their business. But in one shadowed corner, far from the main path, sat a small alien girl. Her knees were pulled to her chest, her head buried in her arms. Her skin was a pale silver blue, but it was covered in dirt and dried stains. Her hair was tangled, her clothes ripped. The smell coming from her was sharp, bitter like metal and rot. People walked past quickly, pretending not to see her. Okay. Some muttered to themselves. Others whispered louder. Don't get close. One man warned his son. She's infected. A woman hissed to her friend. Property. Another voice said, belonged to the pits. Best not touch her. Nobody stopped. Nobody offered food or help. In fact, some stepped further away, as if afraid the air around her could poison them. Captain Rin noticed her from across the market. He had come for ship parts, nothing else. But something about the way she sat so still, so small, pulled his attention. He stopped walking. He shouldn't have. He knew the rules. On the outer rim, you didn't take in strays. You didn't get involved in other people's business, especially not the kind that smelled of trouble. But still, his boots carried him closer. The girl's head lifted slightly. Her eyes, large, bright violet, met his for a brief second, then quickly turned away. Rin knelt beside her. Hey, he said softly. You hungry? She didn't answer. Her arms tightened around her knees. He reached into his pack and pulled out a wrapped protein bar. He held it out to her. Her eyes flicked to the food, then to his face. She didn't take it. Behind him, someone scoffed. Don't bother, human. Touch her and you'll regret it. Rin ignored the voice. It's yours, he said, setting the food down near her feet. Slowly, she reached for it. Her fingers were thin, trembling. She tore the wrapper and took a small bite, chewing like she hadn't eaten in days. What's your name? Rin asked. Her voice was hoarse, almost a whisper. Kara. Well, Kara, he said. I'm Rin. A merchant nearby leaned over his stall. She's not your problem, Captain. Leave her be. She's marked. Rin frowned. Marked. The merchant tapped the side of his neck. Ownership brand means she's trouble. Means she belongs to someone who'll want her back. Rin looked again. Beneath the dirt on her skin, faint lines glowed near her collarbones. Some kind of symbol burned into her flesh. Kara noticed him looking and quickly pulled her torn shirt tighter. You should go, she whispered. Rin tilted his head. Why? Her eyes darted to the crowd. Because they will come for me tonight. The way she said it sent a chill down his spine. Not maybe. Not they might. She spoke like it was certain. Like it had happened before and would happen again. Who will? He asked. Kara didn't answer. She just took another bite of the protein bar, chewing slowly, her gaze fixed on the ground. A loud announcement came over the station speaker's cargo bay, closing in 20 minutes. People began to pack up their stalls. Rin knew he should walk away. Take his parts, leave, and forget he ever saw her. But as he stood, Kara's small voice reached him again. Please, don't let them take me back. He didn't know her. He didn't know her story. But something about her voice, quiet, broken, made him pause. The crowd was thinning. Shadows grew longer in the market as the artificial lights dimmed for the station's night cycle. Somewhere deep inside the station, machinery rumbled like distant thunder. Rin made a decision. Come on, he said, holding out his hand. Kara stared at it. Her expression was unreadable fear, hope, suspicion, all mixed together. Then, slowly, she placed her small hand in his. Her skin was cold. The two of them walked through the market, past the closing stalls and the stares of people who whispered behind their backs. Rin didn't look at them. He could feel their judgment, but he didn't care. When they reached the docking bay, Kara stopped. "You don't have to do this," she said. "Maybe not," Rin replied, "but I am." They stepped onto his ship. The air inside was warm and clean, the faint scent of oil and metal. Kara looked around as if she'd never been on a ship before. "You're safe now," Rin said. But Kara didn't relax. She glanced at the door, then at him. "No," she whispered. "Not yet." Rin frowned. "What do you mean?" Her answer was cut short by a noise outside, heavy footsteps in the docking bay, moving closer. Rin's jaw tightened. Whoever they were, they might already be here. The hot shower, the pounding on the ship's outer door was slow and deliberate. 3 knocks. Pause. 1 knock. Not a stranger's knock. A signal. Kara froze mid-step. Her violet eyes widened and her breathing turned sharp. Rin moved to the small control panel by the door. "Stay here," he told her, but she didn't stay. She backed into the farthest corner of the corridor, wrapping her arms around herself like she was bracing for a blow. Rin's finger hovered over the security feed button. He pressed it. The small screen lit up, showing 2 figures in black armor. Their visors glowed faint green in the dim docking bay light. One of them carried a scanner, sweeping it slowly across the ship's hull. The other stood perfectly still, facing the camera, as if he knew Rin was watching. The still one spoke, his voice low, cold, and flat. "We know she's in there." Rin cut the feed before Kara could see. "Ignore them," he said, forcing calm into his voice. "They'll move on." She shook her head. "No, they never move on." For a few long minutes, they waited in silence. The knocks didn't come again. Rin checked the feed one last time. Empty. The 2 figures were gone. Only then did Kara's shoulders loosen a little. Rin stepped away from the door. "You look like you could use a shower." Her brow furrowed. "Shower. Water. Hot. Clean." Her expression didn't change, but her fingers tightened on her arms. "I don't like small rooms," she said quietly. Rin nodded. "Door stays open." He led her down a narrow passage to the crew washroom. The walls were plain metal, the single light above flickering softly. He turned the shower dial, and a stream of water poured from the nozzle, quickly turning to steam. Kara jumped back, eyes wide. "It's hot," she said, like it was a warning. "That's the point," Rin said. "Feels good once you're in." She didn't move. The steam curled around her, and something about the sound of the water seemed to hold her in place, like she was caught between fear and curiosity. Finally, she stepped forward. Her hand hovered under the spray. When the water touched her skin, she gasped but didn't pull away. The dirt on her fingers began to melt into dark streams. She stared at it as if watching a part of herself vanish. "You can stay in as long as you want," Rin said, stepping back to give her space. He left her there and walked to the cockpit, keeping the washroom in his side view. But minutes later, he glanced back and saw her standing under the water. Still fully dressed, her face tilted up, eyes closed. The steam softened her tangled hair, revealing strands of shimmering silver blue. The water pooled at her feet, carrying away grime in swirling patterns. And on her collarbone, the faint glowing brand was now clearly visible, sharp edges. Precise lines burned deep into her flesh. He didn't know what it meant, but the sight of it made his stomach knot. A sudden knock on the outer door jolted him. Not heavy this time, soft, almost polite. Rin checked the feed. No one was there. The knock came again. This time, from inside the ship. He turned, heart pounding. The washroom door was open wider than before, steam spilling into the hall. Kara was gone. "Kara." He called, stepping quickly toward the washroom. No answer. The knocking came a 3rd time, 3 slow, 1 fast. From the cargo hold, The black mark the cargo hold was dim, lit only by the faint glow of status lights along the walls. Rin's boots echoed on the metal floor as he moved toward the sound. 3 slow knocks. 1 fast, then silence. He reached the main hatch and slapped the panel to lock it just in case. The air felt heavier, as if the ship itself knew trouble had arrived. "Kara," he called. A shadow shifted near the storage crates. For a moment, Rin's hand went to his sidearm till the small shape stepped into the light.ca era. She stood. Barefoot, water dripping from her hair onto the floor, her soaked clothes clinging to her thin frame. Her eyes weren't on him, they were locked on the far corner of the hold. Rin followed her gaze. 2 armored figures stood there, as if the metal walls hadn't existed a moment ago. Their black plating shimmered faintly, the edges sharp like blades. The same green glow pulsed from their visors. "You're fast, Captain," one of them said. The voice was the same as before, calm, flat, and wrong, but not fast enough. Rin's hand tightened on his sidearm. "How did you get in here?" They didn't answer. Instead, the second one took a slow step forward, holding a small black device in his palm. It hummed, and the air around Kara seemed to tremble. She flinched back instantly, pressing against the wall. "No," she breathed. "This is not your concern, human," the first armored figure said. "She is marked." Rin's voice was steady. "What's that supposed to mean?" The soldier tilted his head. "The black mark. It means she belongs to the lab, and anyone who keeps her dies with her." The words were too casual, too certain. Kara's hands clutched her arms. "Don't listen," she whispered. "They'll say anything." Rin stepped closer to her, keeping himself between her and them. "She's under my protection now." The first soldier let out a sound that might have been a laugh or just static. "You think protection matters? The black mark is more than a symbol. It is a beacon." Rin frowned. "Beacon." The second soldier tapped the glowing brand on Kara's collarbone without touching her, just pointing. "It talks to us. Tells us where she is, even across systems." Rin's mind raced. That explained how they found the ship so quickly. The first soldier took another step forward. "Give her to us, and we will leave you alive. Refuse, and you share her fate." Rin was about to answer when Kara suddenly spoke, louder than before. "If you take me back, the others will die." Her voice cracked, but the words cut through the air like a blade. Rin glanced at her. "Others." She shook her head quickly, as if regretting saying anything. But it was too late. The soldiers had heard. The first soldier's tone sharpened. "You have 5 seconds, Captain." The hum of the black device in the second soldier's hand grew louder. Rin could feel it. In his teeth, he didn't think. He just moved. His sidearm came up fast, and 2 shots rang out in the confined space. The first soldier's visor cracked. The second's device flew from his hand, skidding across the floor in a shower of sparks. Kara darted behind him. "Go!" she yelled. Rin grabbed her wrist and sprinted toward the cockpit. The soldiers were already moving, their armor scraping against the narrow walls of the hold. "Strap in," he barked as they reached the pilot's chair. Engines roared to life, and the ship tore free from the docking clamps. The station's outer lights flashed past as they shot into the black sea of space, but in the reflection of the cockpit glass, Rin saw Eton, his own arm, faint and red. A fresh mark was forming, the same shape as the one on Kara's skin. The black mark, the chase. Through the stars, space exploded around them. 3 sharp bursts of light flared on the sensor ships. "Fast ones. They're already on us," Rin muttered. "Ass." Pushing the thrusters to maximum. Sierra sat in the co-pilot's seat. Knees pulled up, hands gripping the straps so tight her knuckles turned pale. Her violet eyes flicked to the flashing red icons on the screen. "They won't stop," she said. "Good thing I'm not planning to either," Rin replied. The first enemy ship broke formation, sweeping low on the radar. Seconds later, blue plasma streaked past their port side. The blast rocked the cockpit, making loose tools rattle in the compartments. Rin spun the control stick hard left, diving into a dense asteroid field. Jagged shadows flashed across the hull as they weaved between tumbling rocks the size of houses. "They'll follow," Kara warned, her voice flat, not fear, just fact. Rin glanced at her. "Then we make it hard for them." The comms panel crackled. A cold, familiar voice slid through the static. "Captain Rin, the mark binds you now. Run if you want it changes nothing." Rin cut the channel. Another blast struck, grazing the starboard wing. Warning lights screamed. The ship's rear stabilizers groaned under the strain. Kara suddenly leaned forward, staring at the nav screen. "They're moving in a hunting pattern," she said quickly. "Two flank. One drives prey forward." Rin frowned. "And how do you know that?" Her eyes didn't leave the screen. "Because I was taught to escape it. The lab made us run drills. Some of us made it out." He almost asked us, but thought better of it. Not the time. Instead, he followed her instructions, cutting low under one spinning asteroid, using its shadow to mask their heat signature, then looping sharply. Up and behind. On the sensors, one of the pursuing ships hesitated, lost track. The others adjusted, but not fast enough. "You're good at this," Rin said. Kara's mouth twitched, maybe the beginning of a smile. Maybe just relief. "I had to be. They never liked losing their experiments." More asteroids closed in. Ahead, tighter and faster. Rin throttled down just enough to slip through a narrow gap. The nearest pursuing ship clipped a rock and spun out. Alarms wailing through there comes before it went silent. "Two left," Kara said. But the victory was short-lived. The sensor flashed with a new warning locked. "Target." The lead enemy ship fired a tracking missile. Rin pulled the stick hard. The ship rolled, but the missiles stayed on their tail, closing the gap. Kara's voice was steady, almost calm. "There's a hollow asteroid ahead. Go inside." "Inside?" Rin barked. "We'll smash to pieces." Her eyes met his, sharp and sure. "Trust me." With no better option, Rin slammed the thrusters forward. The asteroid loomed fast, surface pocked with impact scars. At the last second, he spotted the dark opening and shot through. The inside was a maze of jagged rock, twisting tunnels, and sudden drops. The ship scraped against the walls, sparks flying. The missile followed, struggling to match the tight turns. Kara leaned over the controls. "Cut power now." Rin did. The ship went silent, drifting in the asteroid's shadow. The missile shot past, lost its lock, and slammed into the far wall. The explosion tore through the tunnel, sending chunks of rock tumbling. Rin powered back up, weaving through the collapsing tunnel until they burst out the far side. Only one enemy ship still followed, but it didn't fire. It simply kept its distance. A dark shape against the stars. "They're watching," Kara said softly. "They know where we're going before we do." Rin's hand went to the faint red brand on his arm. It pulsed once, in time with the glow on Kara's collarbone. The black mark wasn't just a beacon. It was a tether. The glow, the hum of the engines faded into the background as the stars stretched into long silver lines hyperspace. But the cockpit wasn't quiet. Rin could hear it. A faint rhythm. Not from the ship, from her. Kara sat in the co-pilot's seat. Her knees tucked under her chin, arms wrapped around her legs. The glow from her collarbone was stronger now, the lines of the mark pulsing, like a heartbeat. Only Rin realized with a chill, it was in sync with his own. He rubbed the faint red mark on his forearm. It was warm, too warm. You're changing, Kara said suddenly, her eyes still on the stars. Rin frowned. What do you mean? She didn't look at him. The mark is in you now. It will make you easier to find. Rin's jaw tightened. Then we get rid of it. Kara finally turned her head, her violet eyes calm but heavy. You can't. It's in your blood. Silence settled between them. Rin's mind raced through possibilities: medical scans, field surgery, maybe even burning it out. But deep down, he already knew it wouldn't be that simple. The glow from Kara's skin brightened suddenly, throwing strange shadows across the cockpit walls. Rin caught a flicker of movement patterns dancing across her arms, faint, like light underwater. He tried not to stare, but the sight was hypnotic. What is it? He asked. Her voice was barely above a whisper. It's why they want me back. Rin waited. She looked down at her hands. When the lab found me, they didn't care who I was. They only cared that I didn't get sick. Rin blinked. Sick. There's a plague, she said. Spreads fast. No cure. But it never touched me. That explained a lot. The containment suits the fear, the obsession. Your glow, Rin said slowly, is connected to that. She nodded. It's how they track me. The mark uses it, feeds on it. Before Rin could answer, the ship's console beeped sharply. Proximity alert. He checked the screen. No ships in range. Kara's head snapped toward the cockpit door. It's not outside, she said. It's here. The lights in the cockpit flickered. The hum of the engines shifted pitch, like something was pulling. Power away. Rin jumped up and ran to the rear compartments. The glow from his own mark was brighter now, a faint red halo on his skin. The air felt warmer, heavier when he reached the storage bay. His breath caught. Lines of light, thin, red, and almost alive, were crawling across the walls, branching like veins. They pulsed in the same rhythm as Kara's skin. Kara stepped in behind him, her face pale. It's spreading to the ship. As they watched, the glowing lines converged at one point on the wall, forming a sharp, precise symbol. The same one burned into her collarbone. Then, without warning, the coms came to life. The cold voice of the armored soldier filled the air. Running changes nothing, Captain. We are already aboard. The lab's secret. The asteroid hung in space like a broken tooth, jagged, dark, and almost invisible without the ship's sensors. No lights, no movement. Dead rock, at least. That's what Rin thought, until the ship slipped closer. Hidden in the asteroid's shadow, a thin metallic ring circled its middle. Faint glimmers of blue energy danced across it like lightning trapped under glass. Kara sat forward, her eyes fixed on the sight. That's it, she said softly. The place I was made. Rin glanced at her. Made? She didn't answer. They landed in a narrow docking bay, cut directly into the rock. The doors sealed behind them, shutting out the stars. Cold blue light filled the hangar to clean. Too controlled for something abandoned. Rin kept one hand on his sidearm as they stepped out. The air smelled faintly sweet, almost artificial, and the walls hummed quietly, as if the whole place was alive. Kara led him down a corridor lined with glass panels. Behind them were small, sterile rooms. Some were empty, others weren't. Rin stopped. Inside one cell sat a boy, thin, gray-skinned, his eyes glowing faint gold. He stared at them without blinking. In the next cell, a woman with skin like black glass lay perfectly still, her chest barely rising. Kara didn't look at them. She kept walking, faster now. Kara, Rin said, catching up. These people, they're not people here, she said flatly. They're samples. The word made Rin's stomach turn. They reached a central chamber larger than the others, its walls covered in screens showing streams of data body scans, genetic charts, strange symbols Rin didn't Recognized in the center of the room stood a single empty containment pod. Its glass was cracked, and the restraints inside hung open. Kara touched the glass. This was mine. Rin looked at her in the cold blue light. She seemed smaller here, her voice thinner. "What did they do to you?" he asked quietly. Her violet eyes met his. "They tried to take what makes me immune. Tried to put it in others. But it only works if it's born in you. They failed. Over and over. And the others, here." Rin asked. "They keep trying," she said. "Different worlds. Different species." The hum in the walls deepened suddenly, like the base itself had woken up. Red lights began to flash. A voice came over hidden speakers, smooth, cold, too. Calm for the words it carried. Unauthorized presence detected in LabCorp. Kara's grip on the cracked glass tightened. They know we're here. Rin turned toward the corridor they'd come from, but it was already closing. Thick metal shutters dropped in place with a dull final clang. From deeper in the base, footsteps began to echo. Not rushing, slow, measured. Like whoever was coming wasn't worried about them running. Rin drew his weapon. Kara stepped back toward the pod, her glow brightening in the dim light. "Who is it?" he asked. Her voice was almost a whisper. "The one who made the mark." The footsteps stopped just out of sight. Then a tall figure stepped into the doorway, long black coat, silver gloves, and a smooth metal mask where a face should have been. The voice was familiar. "Welcome home, Kara." The tall figure stepped fully into the room, the cold blue lights reflecting off the smooth metal mask. The silver gloves caught the glow from Kara's skin, turning it into a pale, ghostly shimmer. Rin raised his weapon. "Stay where you are." The masked head tilted slightly, almost curious. "Do you think that will stop me, Captain?" The voice was calm, but it carried weight like steel hidden under silk. Kara's hands clenched into fists. "You're not taking me back." The figure took a slow step forward. "You belong to the lab, Kira. You were made here. You carry what no one else can. And with it, we can save entire worlds." Rin kept his aim steady by locking her in a cage and carving pieces out of her. The masked figure ignored him. "You have the mark now, Captain. You feel it, don't you? The connection. The hunger. To know what it can do. Imagine if it worked, millions cured. Disease erased." Ren's forearm throbbed where the mark glowed faint red. It felt alive, almost like it was listening. Kara's voice was sharp. "Doesn't save. It takes." The figure's tone softened. "They'll call her dangerous, untouchable. But we can make her the cure. And you, Captain, you can be the one who delivered her." Rin felt Kara's eyes on him. She didn't speak, but her fear said everything. The mark burned hotter. For a moment, Rin imagined what it would be like to hand her over safe ship, a fortune in credits. No more running. The lab could even fix the damage it was doing to his arm. The thought made him sick. Rin's voice was low, but certain. "You want a cure? Find it without turning her into a weapon." The masked figure sighed. "Then you choose her over the galaxy." Behind them, panels in the wall slid open. Thin metal drones floated out, their needle-like arms buzzing. Kara's glow flared brighter, flooding the room with white light. The mark on Rin's arm pulsed in sync, sending a shock through his whole body. He fired. The first drone exploded in a shower of sparks. Kara grabbed his sleeve and pulled him toward the cracked containment pod. "This way," she shouted. The pod's frame was connected to a thick cable running into the wall. Without thinking, Rin ripped it free. Alarms screamed as the lights flickered. Kara slammed her hand against the pod's inner control panel, and a hidden hatch in the floor snapped open. They dropped into darkness, sliding down a maintenance chute until they crashed into a lower bay. The docking clamps were already unlocking. From their ships, someone had tried to take it. Rin didn't think. He sprinted for the ramp, blasting the nearest guard aside. Kara was right behind him, her glow lighting the narrow path. The engines roared to life as they launched from the asteroid's belly. Behind them, the lab's outer ring lit up like a burning crown. The energy field flickered, then collapsed down in the cockpit. Kara sank into the co-pilot's seat, breathing hard. For the first time, she wasn't curled into herself. She was sitting tall, eyes on the stars. "You didn't give me away," she said softly. Rin glanced at her. "Didn't plan to." She smiled, a small, fragile thing, but real. "No one's ever touched me without hurting me. Until you." He looked at the mark on his arm. It still glowed, faint but steady. They weren't safe. Not yet. Somewhere. Out there, someone was still tracking them. Rin's hands tightened on the controls. "Then let's make it so they never find you again." The stars stretched ahead, and the ship vanished into their light.